And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President?
Okay.
What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about. They're getting everything they need. They're very happy across the board.
So there's been a couple of idiots saying that I'm lying, and I'm trying to get all this clout, that there's nothing but National Guard birds and military birds working everywhere. Where are they at? I'm looking. Zeb, Charlie, where's the National Guard birds? Where they at? They ain't here. Where's the active duty birds? Where's the government birds? Huh? Tell me. I'm looking. Let me know, because I'm actually here on the ground.
Hey guys, Pat Harrigan here. I just wanted to highlight what's going on out at the Hickory Airport for Hurricane Helene response. There are some incredible folks doing some incredible work to try to push resources up to the mountains and get people evacuated out of the mountains. The nonprofit side, not the government side, but the nonprofit side is happening here out of Hickory Airport. There's an operations center inside that's being run by Operation Airdrop. If you need evacuation or you need supplies up in the mountains, go to operationairdrop.com and file a mission request. These folks are donating their time, they're donating their money and their resources to help North Carolinians recover from this hurricane. And I'd ask any businesses that are out there, this operations center that's going on in here, these guys are working nonstop. If you can bring them food, if you can bring them some snacks, it'd be great, because their total focus is on helping the people of Western North Carolina today. Thank you so much.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Friday, October 4th, 2024. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. I did tear up actually, watching this beautiful footage. The people helping the people. It's always amazing. It's always amazing when people need people, how they show up, and I'm just incredibly just in awe of the beauty of that and what the human family is capable of in the best possible way. So that was wonderful. Thank you all for tuning in on X Rumble and YouTube in the live chat. Ronnie, thank you for being our fantastic moderator. Christine's not here today. And I wanted to start with an update. Today, we're going to go fully into preparedness with no money. So all the things that we're going to suggest to you today, believe it or not, you can do right now. You can do them with what you have where you are without spending any extra money. When people say there's not much I can do, trust me, there's a lot you can do, and it is very important. It should be more than evident that when something like unexpected happens, and we are in a world where that is increasing, that will increase. For a while now, we're going to go through this period of a lot of these kinds of things. Please do not count on the government. Please do not count on the government. And I want to start off by reading you a message from our friend Johnny Junko. He got a little bit of signal and he texted me last night from Barnardsville, North Carolina, part of the ground zero for the worst of what has happened. And thank you all for the contributions. I want to read to you what Johnny Junko wrote me. Holding up. Heavy on food production out here. We have so much food and water preserved. We are now relocating our incoming supplies elsewhere. We don't need it. Self-sufficient. This is amazing. If we run out of our preserved goods, we'll send out the hunting party. Happy to pick up a rifle in this time. Minimal government assistance, heavy presence, little action. They aren't having a negative effect, but surely not a positive, almost like they're here for PR. Now, mind you, Johnny is pretty much cut off from outside news, so he does not really know the things that we see, right? Because he doesn't currently have access to X and all the other platforms, and he's busy doing what he's doing. So this is just from his perspective right now. Community has been much more productive than them. All volunteer teams, volunteer medic, forestry, search and rescue, bridge repair, etc. All community. The power of community is strong here. Adversity sharpens the blade of our spirit. Adversity is sharpening our community. We're strong. We are one. We're self-reliant and don't need the government. This is the power of these earth skills. Earth skills equals freedom. And Johnny Junko is a survival expert and trainer. He's guided numerous missions out into the wilderness. We were just out, last month on a survival trip with him, actually, in that area that was so hard hit. Organizing a crew of men to go out tomorrow on a rescue mission. Many people still stranded higher up from trees blocking them in. We'll be trailblazing a new path with chainsaws up the mountains to access these people and get them the medical supplies they need. Love you, brother. Keep the prayers coming. We can feel it. So that was the message from Johnny Junko from Barnardsville. Extremely positive spirit, beautiful, and just wonderful to hear from him. We have asked specifically what we can currently do for them, and he hasn't replied back yet with that. I don't think there's much coming in other than by air right now, but we will confirm and we will let you know if there's anything our community can do. But today we want to really focus on your preparedness and what you can do right now without spending any extra money. And so let's go through this entire guide. Please save this show, save it to your YouTube, and later come back and take notes. I mean, this is something, and share it with your friends and family. This is the excuse killer. Do what you can with what you already have where you are. Let's go and go through this, my friends. All righty. No, that was a little ahead of ourselves. Here we are. Create a family emergency plan. Okay. So that's the first thing we did many, many years ago with our kids when they were still quite little. Establish a clear plan for how your family will communicate and where you will meet if separated during an emergency. Designate a local and an out-of-town contact. Decide on specific meeting spots and ensure everyone knows evacuation routes and how to reach them. This is incredibly important. So you need to take into account where is your family in any given day, right? I mean, some are at work, some might be in school, some might be in other places. So then you have to talk things through. What if communication is down, power is down? If we can't reach each other, what do we do? Stick to that plan. Plan it out. It might take an hour to get to the meeting spot. It might take 24 hours. But if you stick to the plan, eventually you will be reunited with your family. You have to sit down and make that happen. Doesn't cost you a thing, just thinking. Sign up for local emergency alerts. Listen, I'm not a big fan of government stuff, but some of these are actually private, and these alerts very often come in handy. So register for local emergency notifications via SMS apps or websites. These alerts provide timely updates on severe weather, evacuation orders, and other critical information, helping you stay informed and make quick decisions. So just simply check if you have a cell phone, a smartphone, just check if that is activated. And if not, it's free to activate that on your phone. I would recommend it. Practice basic first aid. Familiarize yourself with essential first aid techniques by using free resources such as First Aid for Free. There's a website, firstaidforfree.com or .org. I'm not quite sure, but if you Google that, you'll find it. And you can actually get certified in that if you want to, you know, CPR and whatnot. Or, of course, YouTube tutorials, of which there are many. Learning CPR, bandaging wounds, and treating burns can save lives in situations where medical help isn't immediately available. And you can literally learn that completely free of charge. Build a communication plan. Compile a list of essential contacts, including family members, neighbors, and emergency services. Make sure everyone in the household has a copy and knows how to reach these contacts. Keep printed and digital versions as well as a physical copy in your emergency kit. I don't know about you, but I used to know all my family, you know, I used to know probably 50, 60 numbers, phone numbers by heart. I just had them memorized. Now everything's saved up in our phones. A lot of us don't even know our immediate family's numbers. I would encourage you to memorize them. Memorize the most important people in your life. That's a good, you know, it's going to sharpen your brain too. But also, I created a little book that is in a fire and waterproof bag, and it's just old school address book with the most important contacts, where they live and whatnot. You wouldn't believe how lost you are in a situation where you might have access to a phone, but you don't know what number to dial to get in touch. So that's just a very common sense thing that I would encourage everyone to do. Locate emergency shutoffs. That's very important in your house or in your apartment. Know where to shut off utilities like gas, water, and electricity to prevent further damage and disasters like earthquakes or floods. Label each shutoff valve or switch and make sure family members know how to operate them. Assemble a bug out list. Prepare a list of items you already have that can be packed into a bug out or go bag, such as flashlights, extra batteries, blankets, non-perishable snacks, and essential medications. Keep the bag easily accessible so you can grab it quickly in an evacuation. You would be surprised if you go through all your drawers, if you go through all your cupboards, if you go through your pantry or whatever you have. A lot of people, you know, extra matches, maybe even a small candle might come in handy, and other things, bandages, band-aids, whatnot, that you can put in what we call a bug out bag, something that's ready to go. Boom, you grab it and you leave. Just use what you already have. Of course, if you can purchase things, go ahead and do that. But this today is specifically focused on not spending any extra money on that. Store extra water. Fill clean containers with water to have an emergency supply. Aim for 1 gallon per person per day for at least 3 days. This is the bare minimum. But if you use empty containers, make sure they're clean. Just keep filling them up every day a little bit. Store them away, and just you'll see that it might come in handy. Check for leaks and refresh the water every 6 months to ensure it remains safe to drink. Okay, very important. Water is, you can go without food for quite a long time. Water, much more difficult. Much more difficult. I just experienced this when we were up in the mountains. We were on like pure survival, so we didn't bring any food, anything like that. And we had a small spring that was a little further away, was a hike away, and that spring wasn't refilling as fast as we thought it would. So we had to ration, and you get dehydrated really quick. Your brain doesn't function properly. Nothing functions properly. So make sure you're really good on the water end of things. And again, this is just using what you already have. Copy important documents. And not everyone is going to want to put this in a cloud storage, but it's something to think about. Digitize and store copies of vital documents like IDs, insurance policies, medical records, passport in a secure cloud-based storage. This makes retrieval easier if the physical copies are lost or damaged. If you don't want to do the digital thing, which I understand that too, you might as well, you might also find if maybe you have something where it's at least waterproof or maybe fireproof, and you can store them somewhere external. Maybe, you have a bank safety deposit. Maybe there's another place, or you have a little storage that you rent somewhere that's not where you are. So just in case, something happens in the area where you are, you still have access to those documents. That can come in very handy, because unless you are coming through the southern border, most people need documents for a lot of things, just people that come through the southern border can do it without them. Preparedness, learn to purify water. Understand basic water purification methods using household items that you might already have, like bleach. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is suggested to do often, but sometimes that's the only way to go. Use 8 drops per gallon. Make sure that you really familiarize yourself with the bleaching process of water, what kind of bleach can be used and what can't be used, right? Go and Google that, or use a better search engine than Google. It's kind of gotten used to just using the word. We don't use Google. Or look on YouTube, and you get specific instruction on how you can use pure bleach to purify the water. It's not my preferred method, but if all else fails, you will still get drinkable water. Or by boiling water. That doesn't remove everything in all situations, but it might help if you boil it for at least 1 minute. And this can be really, really important knowledge. Practice basic survival skills. The skill set is really what gives you the most in any given situation, as we just saw with our friend Johnny Junko out there. Spend time learning essential skills such as fire starting, navigating without GPS, or building a temporary shelter. These skills can help you stay safe and self-reliant if you're caught without access to regular resources. Now, most areas, by the way, have some sort of organization that will teach you this for free. You can go to YouTube. You can see if anyone in your friends or family circle is doing that. Oftentimes, you'll find these kinds of people at farmers markets. Just look and ask around. It's amazing what you can learn in a short period of time that can make the difference between surviving or not, staying warm or not. And having these skills is invaluable, and you can learn them for free. There's a ton of YouTube videos, but you need to practice stuff. You need to actually do it, right? That's what we did out in the wilderness. That's what's so important. You learn how you can always build a fire even when it's wet. You learn even how you can build your own traps, stuff like that. Just focus on something and get good at that, and then go to the next thing, and you can learn it all for free. Communicate with your neighbors. Incredibly important. Community is the number one thing that helps people in emergencies. It is not the government. It's not official services. It's always community. Get to know your neighbors. Talk about emergency scenarios and what skills and talents can be used, bartered, and exchanged in emergency situations. Some preparedness items can be pooled as well. Have these conversations when you have, times have changed. This used to be an awkward conversation. People would look at you weird. Not so much anymore. Most people are aware that the world is in a very strange place. And so these conversations are much easier, and people are actually willing to have them. And you will learn, oh, that guy 2 houses down might be a mechanic. The other guy over there is really good with wood skills or whatever. And so you get to know each other. And then you can also, you kind of count on that. You can rely on each other if something happens. And that doesn't have to be a disaster, right? It can just be your neighbors are sick. So, when they're sick, you can go over, you can ask them, can I help you with something? Can I walk your dog for you? Or bring you some food, whatever. These are just beautiful things that should happen anyways, right? But we've gotten so removed, the digital, everything is removed from personal communication. This is incredibly important. And community is the building block for everything. We have to remember that again. It's absolutely free to do that. And then you can talk about pooling resources, right? Maybe they have already a lot of something and you have a lot of something. And then you can just say, well, if something happens, we can help each other. We can exchange stuff, right? So important. Get creative with that too. And here we go. Then we go into the food side of things. There's a lot you can do without spending any extra money. Save seeds from fresh produce. Most people don't do that. First off, only buy fruits that have seeds. If it's a seedless fruit, don't buy it. Ask yourself, what has to be done to a fruit that it becomes seedless? It's crazy. Collect seeds from veggies and fruits you already eat, like tomatoes, peppers, or cucumbers. Rinse, dry, and store them in a cool, dark place for future planting. But it's not just for planting, it's also for bartering, right? In certain situations, there will come a time in a lot of places where I think seeds will be more valuable than a lot of other goods. especially since the food industry is moving away from making them accessible to people. So if you're already going to, if you buy veggies and buy fruits, always save the seeds. You know, you just scrape them out, you rinse them so they're clean, you let them dry for a couple of days on a sheet of paper towel, and then use, I mean, if you can use a little paper bag, those are better than plastic bags, but save them somewhere. And this will cost you nothing extra. And mark them, you know, write on them what it is, and it can be absolutely valuable to you, you know, of course, also for planting, right? Learn foraging basics. You know, most people don't know. Most people live, you know, close enough to some natural habitat, a forest, something, but most people don't know what to do when they're there. And so you wouldn't believe how many people die in the summer in the woods if they get lost because they don't know anything about anything anymore. And we can learn that. So identify edible wild plants and berries in your area by using free online resources, or maybe you have books at home or local library books. Plants like I know that people call them dandelions, and all my life I always thought that was misspelled. It should have been dandelions, but that's just me. Dandelions, clover, stinging nettles, and certain mushrooms can be nutritious additions during emergencies. So when when we were out in the woods, we didn't bring any food, and the trapping takes a while if you trap for small, you know, game or something. So we cooked, you know, we built a firewood, built a fire, and then we cooked stinging nettles. We just boiled them in water, and we ate those stinging nettles kind of like spinach, right? So you can eat that, and it's very nutritious. You can eat clover; it's very nutritious. And there's other things that you can eat, and you know, depending on the season, you can eat berries, and so you just have to know what you can and what you cannot eat, and that is knowledge. Most of that is knowledge. Practice home canning, right? Also, gather information on basic canning techniques from free resources like YouTube. Use jars you already have to preserve foods like fruits, vegetables, and sauces, which can last through tough times. You know, canning, everybody used to know how to can. And most people have excess something, right? Like, you know, our tomatoes this year, we had such an, you know, amazing tomato season. So we produced a lot of sauce with that. That is, you know, we freeze it, but you can can it if you do it properly. If you have, you know, cucumbers, pickles, I mean, peppers, you can can anything. And it's not hard to do. Most people already have everything they need at home to do that. And then just go on YouTube and look up how to do it, and try something, right? Store it in a dark place, you know, in a pantry or somewhere where there's no direct sunlight. And you know, you'll be amazed when 2-3 months later in winter, you pick up a jar and you eat that, how beautiful that is, because you know you made that happen. Dehydrate fruits and veggies and meats, by the way. This is one of my favorite things to do. Now, dehydration will retain about 70% of the nutrients. If you could freeze dry it, it would be 90 plus, but 70% is still not bad. If you have access to a low temperature oven or simply a sunny spot, but you know, or a dehydrator, but we said no extra purchases. So this is that. You can air dry most fruits and meats. These dried items last longer and can be used for emergency purposes. Again, you go to YouTube and you type in, how do I air dry meat, fish, veggies, fruits? How do you do that? How do you do that in an oven? How do you do that? Excuse me. How do you do that with a dehydrator? We bought years ago a little dehydrator for 30, 40 bucks. I don't know. And we've been using it a lot, and that stuff is stored. When you properly dehydrate, that will last for a very long time, especially if it's in a vacuum, stored in a vacuum. So most people have an oven already at home, you know, beneath their stove. You can use that to dehydrate stuff that you already have, that you're already buying, and it will come in very handy later. Annie asks, is there a recommendation for a home dehydrator? Christine has been maintaining a list of essential products, items for self-sufficiency, preparedness, survival, gardening. It's down in the video description. Now, before you shoot the messenger here, this list is compiled on Amazon for the reason that Amazon has it's the easiest way to get all these products in one list. Now you can see the product there and just purchase it elsewhere. Go to your local store. Of course, we just used it because it was the only platform that allowed us to have it all in one place. That's all in the video description, and you can check all the items out there if you want to look into that. This again today is do what you have, do what you can with what you already have where you are. So this is without spending any extra money. Practice sprouting, also a beautiful practice that'll give you very healthy stuff. Use dried beans, lentils, or seeds you already have to grow fresh sprouts. Sprouting is easy and provides fresh greens that are rich in nutrients, especially useful if fresh veggies are scarce. Sprouting is super easy. Again, if you look up, go to YouTube and look up how to sprout. Most anyone can do it, most anywhere. You don't need anything for that, and it'll be very helpful. Please forgive my voice today. It's been a lot of talking in the last few days. Engage. Okay, so here we go. I'll be right back with that. But this is the practical side of things. I mean, this is what? It's 15, 16 things that you can do that have high impact, trust me, that puts you in a much better position that cost you zero money, right? Zero money. This is all just doing things that you already have at home, planning for things, and making sure that you have certain strategies in place. It's as simple as the power goes out for a couple of days because there was a storm 200 miles away from you, but it impacts your area. A couple of days without power can be quite a challenge if you have no plan in mind. If you have a strategy in mind, it can be fairly easy to weather that storm. So this is important. But then internal strategies is just as important, foundationally speaking, probably even more important. So let's look at those strategies here. Engage in regular spiritual practices. The people who pray and meditate or have some sort of other spiritual practices are much better equipped in most situations. Whether through prayer, meditation, or quiet reflection, spiritual practices can provide grounding and calmness. These practices help maintain emotional balance and offer a sense of peace, which is especially valuable during crises. This is such so important. It is, and I've seen this time and time again, people who have a spiritual connection, who are grounded, who are balanced, they can show up for themselves, their families, and their communities much better. It's not even close to people who don't do that panic, that lose their confidence, that lose everything that makes them creative in such situations. Build mental resilience, also very important, especially through these times. Envision different emergency scenarios and practice how you would react. You will train your mind and body to remain creative rather than go into fight or flight mode. Listen, if you feel your way through a situation, okay, we have a power outage, we have an internet outage, now all my means of communications might be down. Okay, what would I do? What do I have in place? How would I react? If you walk through that and you don't panic, you're going to stay creative. Most people go into fight or flight. They just panic and they don't know what to do. So you have to envision, what if I have to leave quickly? You know, how do I get out of there? You envision these scenarios, and then you are ready when the time comes. This is basic stuff. This is basic stuff that can make the difference between survival or not survival in a critical situation. Okay, we're going to get to that bonus tip in a second here. That's the bonus tip. So I love that we can eliminate excuses. And I have that's what I have worked on for 25 years probably, because I was in situations where I felt powerless. It wasn't necessarily like huge disaster situations, but personal situations where I felt that I am relying on forces outside of me. And the strategy of do what you can with what you have where you are is so empowering, because it focuses your mind on the things that you can do versus on the things that you cannot do. And here's what happens when you focus on the things that you cannot do: nothing. You worry, you're in a downward spiral, you activate all those negative emotions, and you get nothing done because you're in a state of worry. Okay, now that you know, sharpen your focus on the things that you can do. And this is not just for emergencies, this is for all areas in your life. Doesn't matter. Focus on the things that you can do right now and take baby steps. I will tell you, consistency. We have been changing our lifestyles to self-sufficient, to self-empowerment, not overnight, but over years. We have been preparing not for days, but for years, little by little. You go out, you pick up an extra item, an extra bag of rice, or whatever you can at that time, a few extra canned goods, right? Or you do these things that we talked about today that cost you zero money. It'll make all the difference, all the difference. And we are switching over to a more self-sufficient way of life, and that should be something that everybody goes for. That should be something we should all aspire to, because the systems, the governments, all of this, you see how it's working against us. You see this in these disaster situations. It's literally working against the people. And those who are ready on multiple levels usually do much better. And that's why our friend Johnny Junko, who sent us this message yesterday, is in such high spirits. I mean, it's inspiring to read his words, right? When I read you the message, quite inspiring. And he is in Ground Zero, North Carolina, where it's really shitty right now. And he is in high spirits because he has all the skills that he could need. Even if all the material stuff goes away, he still knows what to do. That is empowerment, my friends. And here's the bonus tip. Because we're talking about free stuff today. No, that was, well, no, where do we go? I'm sorry. Here we go. Here's the bonus tip. Everything works smoother in a high consciousness field. FLFE is a spiritual quantum technology. Our dear friends over there that are doing amazing work for the human family. And that quantum technology creates a high consciousness field where you are with a mobile service or with your home service. No AI, no devices you need, no downloads, no bullshit. You can start a free trial. No subscription will be created, no credit card, 15 days, and just experience it. It's absolutely free. They won't bother you. They'll give you a call and help you maybe. They'll tell you that you need to hydrate. They'll ask you how your experience goes, but there will be no pressure whatsoever. And this is how for the next 15 days, okay, here's my tip is, use all of these things that I shared with you today and implement them. Start today, and over the next 2 weeks, do 1 or 2 of these items every single day and help yourself with this high consciousness field that you can have for 15 days completely free, and see how it will help you activate all those things and do these things. Why wouldn't you use a free resource that is given with love? You just go to highconsciousnessfield.com and click to start my free trial, and in a few minutes that'll be activated. I encourage you to do that. Use as many free resources as possible, right? Why would you not do it? The incredible stories, by the way, from FLFE users, there are things that they've researched over many years now, that they've had studies for, they have hard numbers for, like how it impacts the soil, how it impacts plant growth, for example, how it impacts EMF mitigation. All of this they have scientific numbers for. And then there are things that they never say and they would never share with you, but that people on the service have actually told us and told them, but they would never advertise it. So please, when I say what I'm about to say to you, don't take it as, oh, if I have FLFE, this is what's going to happen and how it's going to protect me. These are just anecdotal stories. Storms turn people that had the FLFE service. Literally, I saw that review where the person said the tornado took a turn right in front of our house. Another person just recently said we had, affected by Hurricane Helene, power outage just a short moment of flickering, and the power stayed on, although most of the area around me, people lost power in their homes. There are some inexplicable things that happen to people. And again, I'm not saying this is like it's going to happen to you or this is going to protect you. I'm just saying there's something about high consciousness fields in general, not just FLFE, but high consciousness fields that we see in different places in the world where people are having experiences and protection there that they usually don't have. That's quite incredible. And you can study that, right? You can go and see how people in high consciousness areas of the world often fare much better than others. Again, how do you create a high consciousness field yourself? By daily spiritual practice. Meditate, prayer raises, proper prayer and meditation raises the level of consciousness of you and that field around you. FLFE is kind of like a heating system. I compared it's a spiritual heating system. It's like, okay, I can stay warm in the winter by jumping up and down and doing exercise, or I can turn on the heat and not have to worry about that part. So it's sort of like, yes, you can meditate 7 hours a day, or you meditate in the morning and in the evening, or pray the way you do it, and 24/7 you have an elevated field around you. So that's just a bonus tip, my friends. Actually, we won't need those glasses anymore. So here's the thing. Knowledge, people say knowledge is power. Bullshit. Knowledge in action is power. Only what you put to action. Spirituality in a vacuum doesn't do anything. Spirituality is only powerful when it is applied to your daily practices, when your life becomes a spiritual practice. So it's the same with all other knowledge. All this information, if you just log off after this live stream today and go about your day, it's not going to do anything for you. If you use it, if you actually apply it, if you actually do it, then it becomes an empowerment tool. So the absolute focus here is on turning that knowledge into actionable empowerment. Do it. It's incredible. To be equipped with that, to know what to do when shit hits the fan is a powerful thing. And it will not only help you, it'll help your family, it'll help your community. And the last statement that I'm going to make is something that I've been getting over and over again as deep inner knowings. The Inspired Tribe and people who are on this journey of empowerment, higher consciousness, will not just survive through these times, they will thrive through these times. Thrive. And this is actually a word that Johnny Junko used in Ground Zero, North Carolina, where the worst of the worst has happened. A couple days ago, when he first gave me, send a message, said, I'm alive, he said, we're thriving. And that is what I'm talking about. We are in this incredible place where we can empower ourselves through a great connection with Source, with the Creator, so that we can thrive through this transitioning period, that we can lead and help people through this transitioning period. And when we come out on the other side of this, we won't be depleted. We will be at our very best. That is the idea. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. I can't wait to look at all your comments. Thank you, Ronnie, for being the fantastic moderator you are. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. And we will be back with you again very, very soon.
And right now, you could be only a few clicks away from experiencing something amazing, something that has changed thousands of lives all over the world. I'm talking about a high consciousness field similar to those at pilgrimage sites and sacred places. It's where people go to heal, to connect, and to become the best possible version of themselves. With FLFE, you can bring such a high consciousness field into your home right now. It's a spiritual quantum technology based on the work of Nikola Tesla. Better sleep, more energy, greater well-being, improved finances, electrosmog mitigation. These are only some of the things people on the FLFE service are experiencing. Try it now for 15 days completely free of charge, no credit card needed. Just click on a link down below to start your free, no strings attached FLFE trial right now.